Is lucky to be alive. The victim of a tragic accident, the young mother was left a quadriplegic when a tree fell on her car, narrowly missing her two young children. But as you're about to see, it could have been so easily prevented.
Just driving down the road, in the corner of my eye I saw a tree sort of falling. I was pinned down by my neck, crouching down on the car. It's totally changed my life in that split second. I can't walk again.
A 20-metre gum tree comes crashing down the exact moment Heidi Edwards drives past.
And I also think, why wasn't I late? Why wasn't I early? I'm always on time. If I was just a bit later, it wouldn't have happened.
The trunk lands on the front half of the car, somehow bounces off and then pulls down a nearby power pole.
And I was told that I kept driving and then swerved to the other side of the road, missed an oncoming car and stopped on the other side of the road.
The driver's section is completely squashed, but perhaps more of a miracle, Heidi's two young children sitting in the back seat escape without a scratch.
I couldn't live with myself if my kids were hurt.
Little Alex doesn't remember much, but Tegan, just 5 at the time, can't forget.
She could remember grey, which was the roof of the car, collapsing in, and then she said Mummy went quiet.
She shouldn't have survived. The tree had done so much damage to her car and her body.
Heidi's husband Simon also remembers every detail. He's on his way to work when his phone rings. It's a friend telling him to rush to the accident site. It's just 10 minutes from their home.
When I got there, Heidi was still in the car. But with I've been with the RFS for quite a while, and I know that even though I wanted to go up to her, I know that was the worst sort of thing to do because it would make her panic. So I really just had to stay back and watch what they did.
After finally being cut out, Heidi is airlifted to hospital where she stays for 8 long months.
Being in hospital for so long and not being around them is just so sad and hard for me. Where's Alex?
Heidi's now home, but as a quadriplegic still needs 24-hour care. Simon juggles that with looking after the kids and a full-time job.
I'm lucky that Heidi was one of those very organised people that had lots of lists everywhere. So I basically literally went through the bins and went through all the drawers and found all her lists of what day the kids go to school, what they take to school, different days they take different things.
It seems like incredibly bad luck, a tragic accident, but some believe it's more of a case of extraordinary negligence. It's alleged the tree had been dead for up to a decade, infested by termites, and quite simply an accident waiting to happen.
This was an accident that never needed to happen. This tree should have been removed.
10 months after the accident, part of the fallen tree still sits on the side of the road. You'd think it wouldn't be too hard to discover whose land that tree was on. But sadly, it's the opposite. MP Ray Williams is furious that council and RTA are instead pointing fingers at each other.
And by termites eating out the inside, that weakens the tree, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely right. Until you get the right weather conditions, there's enough eaten out and the tree just snaps off and falls on unsuspecting drivers like Heidi.
We contacted Hornsby Council and got this response. The tree is located within the boundaries of Old Northern Road. Old Northern Road is a state road managed by the RTA. The RTA says investigations are continuing and hopes for an outcome soon. This independent surveyor's report concludes the tree is on council land and identifies another 5 nearby dead trees that could fall at any time.
Is there any kind of insurance for something like this?
No, because the car insurance people are under the assumption, well, the tree hit Heidi, not Heidi hitting the tree. So if Heidi had hit the tree, then she would go under the car insurance. But really it's the tree's insurance, and the tree doesn't have insurance.
The accident happened 3 weeks after Heidi's 40th birthday. It was the happiest time of her life. The family had just moved into their new home and things were great. They'd spent the previous 7 years living in a shed and before that a caravan.
So we lived in it for 6 months, the house, and then I had my accident. Yeah, it was bittersweet, so.
You haven't quite been able to enjoy it yet.
No.
They've installed makeshift ramps and a small path, but there's still so much to do.
And when you're out here and you're looking around, it's not that accessible for you though, is it?
No, not at this stage. Hopefully we'll get more landscaping done and it will be a lot more accessible.
Sadly, on one wage, it's going to be a long time before they can even finish the floors.
She's an amazing woman and she's a strong woman, and it seems a very unfair thing to have happened to a young mother of 2.
With no insurance to cover expenses, close friend Tanya Curry is organising a fundraiser.
We'd like to raise money to buy them a van that they can get Heidi out and about and come to school functions, to parties, to barbecues, and to be able to be a part of the general community out here.
We normally use the pushchair. So
It does seem unfair that they have to raise the money themselves, but with no one taking responsibility for the accident, it's their only option.
I always think it would, happens to someone else. You see all the stories on television and you feel sad, but you never ever think it will happen to you.
That is unfair, isn't it? And to date, the only response from the government authorities is to offer their sympathies to the Edwards family. But if you'd like to help Heidi, let us know. Well, they're like the Logies.